You've been there before. A conversation that should have been simple spirals into chaos. Every word you say somehow comes back twisted. You try to explain yourself, but she flips it around, turns the facts against you, and suddenly you feel wrong, even when you know you're right. You leave feeling drained, frustrated, and doubting your own judgment. It's not just one argument. It's every argument. She knows how to dominate the conversation without raising her voice. She controls, manipulates, and finds ways to make you question your perception of reality. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's at home, maybe it's someone you care about deeply. No matter where it happens, the result is the same. You feel powerless, exhausted, and stuck. This video is for you. It's not about tricks to hurt her back or play games. It's about taking back control, protecting your emotional energy, and learning how to handle these conversations with confidence. You'll learn strategies to stay calm, see the manipulation for what it is, and respond in ways that protect your dignity and your peace of mind. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap. You'll know how to stand your ground, defend your perspective, and navigate arguments without feeling trapped or defeated. These aren't just tips. They're tools to reclaim your confidence and your emotional strength. Stay calm, no matter what. The first thing you need to do is breathe. Seriously, just take a moment before reacting. Speak slowly, keep your voice even, and don't let your emotions control you. If you respond in panic, frustration, or anger, she will notice immediately. Narcissistic people are experts at spotting any crack in your confidence and using it to their advantage. Staying calm doesn't just protect you, it actually gives you control. When you stay steady, you are the one deciding how the conversation moves forward. You set the pace, you set the tone, and you don't let her energy push you around. That's huge. Most people get caught up in the heat of the moment and lose the argument, not because they're wrong, but because they're reacting instead of responding. It's also important to remember that staying calm isn't about bottling up your feelings or pretending you don't care. It's about managing your reaction so you can think clearly. When you're calm, you can hear exactly what she's saying, understand her tactics, and figure out the best way to respond. When you lose control, the argument isn't about the facts anymore. It becomes about who can yell, push, or manipulate the other person first. A good way to stay calm is to focus on your breathing, or even silently count to 3 before responding. Give yourself that tiny pause. That pause is enough to stop her from seeing you as an easy target. It's enough to give your brain time to process what she's actually saying instead of reacting to the way she's saying it. Think of it this way. Your calm is your shield. It keeps her from dragging you into chaos. It also keeps your energy intact, which is critical because arguing with a narcissistic woman can be exhausting if you aren't careful. Once you start losing your composure, it's almost impossible to get it back in the middle of the argument. The key here is consistency. The more you practice staying calm, the easier it becomes. Over time, she will notice that her usual tricks aren't working on you. That alone changes the entire dynamic. You stop being the person she can push around, and instead, you start controlling the energy in the room. Remember, this is the foundation for everything else. Without calm, every other strategy, setting boundaries, recognizing manipulation, defending your point, starts to fall apart. Calm is not optional. It's your first and most important weapon in these conversations. Understand their motives. The second thing you need to know is why she does what she does. A narcissistic woman usually isn't arguing to find the truth or to understand your perspective. She's arguing to win. She wants to feel superior, get attention, or control the conversation. Understanding this completely changes the game. Once you see her motives clearly, you stop taking her behavior personally. You realize that she isn't attacking you because of who you are. It's about what she wants. She wants to dominate, manipulate, or make herself feel more important. That's her goal, not yours. This understanding gives you power. When you know what she's trying to do, you can plan your response instead of reacting emotionally. You stop being a pawn in her game. You can step back and see the conversation for what it really is, a display of her need for control, not a fair debate. Another thing to remember is that trying to convince her with logic often doesn't work. She isn't really listening to reason. She's listening for weaknesses she can exploit. That's why knowing her motives is so important. You stop wasting energy trying to make her see the truth. Instead, you focus on protecting yourself and responding strategically. It also helps you stay calm. When you understand her motives, you're less likely to feel hurt, frustrated, or anxious. You know the arguments aren't about fairness. They're about her ego. That awareness alone reduces a lot of the emotional pressure. So keep this in mind. Arguments with a narcissistic woman are rarely about facts. They're about power, control, and attention. Once you understand this, you can stop reacting to the surface level of what she says and start handling the conversation in a way that protects your confidence and your peace of mind. Pick your battles wisely. Not every argument needs to turn into a full-blown fight. One of the biggest mistakes people make with a narcissistic woman is thinking every disagreement has to be won. It doesn't. Sometimes the smartest move is to step back and decide if this is even worth your time and energy. Think about it like this. Every conversation is a choice. You can engage, or you can let it slide. If the argument is about something trivial, like opinions or small disagreements that don't affect your life, it might be smarter to just stay calm and let it go. You're not giving up. You're protecting your energy. You only engage when it matters. When you pick your battles, you also keep control. A narcissistic woman often tries to pull you into endless arguments. She thrives on tension and conflict. If you respond to everything, you're letting her control the conversation, the pace, and your emotional state. By choosing when to engage, you're the one setting the rules. You decide what deserves your attention, not her. Another thing to consider is what your goal is in the argument. Are you trying to make a point? Are you protecting yourself? Or are you just getting dragged into drama? Once you clarify your goal, it becomes easier to decide whether to engage. Some battles aren't worth fighting because winning them won't change anything meaningful. Picking battles wisely also helps you avoid exhaustion. Arguing with a narcissistic woman can be mentally and emotionally draining. If you try to respond to every little thing, you'll burn out quickly. By choosing your battles, you conserve energy for the moments that really matter, moments where your voice, your point, and your boundaries truly count. Finally, remember that picking your battles isn't passive. It's a strategic move. It shows you're aware, thoughtful, and in control. She may try to provoke you, but when you engage only when it's necessary, you stop giving her the satisfaction of seeing you react to every provocation. You're not ignoring her. You're choosing the fights that matter and staying calm through everything else. The key takeaway is simple. Not every argument is worth your energy. Protect your peace of mind by engaging only in the conversations that truly matter. That's how you stay in control, keep your confidence, and make sure that when you do speak, it actually counts. Analyze their logic before responding. One of the biggest mistakes people make when arguing with a narcissistic woman is reacting immediately. The words come fast, the tone may be sharp, and your first instinct is usually to defend yourself. But here's the thing. Pausing before responding is crucial. Take a moment to really listen and analyze what she's saying. Many narcissistic women don't argue to reach understanding. They argue to dominate. They might twist facts, exaggerate points, or even throw in something completely unrelated to confuse you. If you react too quickly, you risk responding emotionally instead of logically, and that's exactly what she wants. When you take a pause, even just a few seconds, you give your brain a chance to separate fact from manipulation. You can figure out which parts of the conversation are worth addressing and which parts are just distractions meant to throw you off balance. This gives you clarity and prevents her from using your emotions against you. Another reason analyzing before responding works is that it allows you to control the pace of the conversation. Instead of being pushed around by her energy, you set your own rhythm. You respond when you're ready, not when she demands it. That shift in control can change the entire dynamic of the argument. It's also important to stay focused on the facts. Narcissistic women often mix facts with exaggerations or half-truths. By analyzing carefully, you can separate what's real from what's meant to provoke or confuse you. Responding with clarity instead of reacting to emotional bait makes your points stronger and keeps the conversation from spiraling out of control. Finally, analyzing their logic first protects your emotional energy. When you understand her tactics and can see through the manipulation, you don't feel as drained or anxious. You stay grounded, focused, and confident. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. The key takeaway here is simple. Don't respond immediately. Take a moment, analyze what's being said, separate fact from manipulation, and respond thoughtfully. This gives you control, keeps your energy intact, and makes it much harder for her to dominate the argument. Name the issue clearly. One of the most effective strategies when arguing with a narcissistic woman is to focus on the issue, not the person. She often tries to make everything personal, turning facts or disagreements into attacks on your character. If you respond in kind, the conversation spirals out of control. That's why naming the issue clearly is so important. Start by identifying exactly what the argument is about. Keep it simple. Don't let her distract you with unrelated points or emotional manipulations. When you state the problem clearly, you separate yourself from the drama. You're no longer reacting to attacks on your character. You're addressing a specific, manageable issue. Naming the issue clearly also helps keep the conversation factual. Instead of arguing about personalities, feelings, or intentions, you focus on what actually needs to be resolved. This makes your points harder to dismiss or twist because you're speaking about reality, not emotions or assumptions. Another reason this works is that it reduces defensiveness on both sides. When the focus is on the problem, not on who is right or wrong, it's easier to keep your composure. It's harder for her to manipulate you with personal attacks when you consistently redirect the conversation to the actual issue. For example, instead of reacting to insults or provocations, calmly point out the topic at hand and stick to it. This takes discipline, but it's powerful. Every time you bring the conversation back to the real issue, you regain control and prevent her from derailing the discussion. This strategy also protects your mental energy. Narcissistic women can exhaust you by making small disagreements feel huge. By naming the issue clearly, you avoid getting caught in side arguments that have nothing to do with the real problem. You conserve energy, stay focused, and maintain your clarity. Naming the issue clearly builds credibility. People pay attention to calm, direct, and structured communication. When you consistently focus on the facts and the real topic, you're not just protecting yourself. You're showing that your point of view is serious and grounded. The key takeaway is simple. Always define the argument around the real issue. Keep it clear, factual, and focused. Don't let personal attacks or emotional manipulation distract you. This keeps you in control, makes your points stronger, and protects your emotional energy from unnecessary stress. Use strategic silence. One of the most powerful tools you have in an argument with a narcissistic woman is silence. It might sound simple, but it works in ways that words often can't. Silence gives you control, protects your emotions, and can even make her rethink what she just said. Narcissistic people thrive on reactions. They feed off the way you respond. Your anger, frustration, or anxiety. When you respond instantly, they see it as a win. Silence, however, interrupts that pattern. It breaks the flow they rely on to dominate the conversation. By not reacting immediately, you take away their power to manipulate you. Using silence doesn't mean ignoring the conversation entirely. It means giving yourself a pause, a few seconds, or even a minute if needed, before responding. During this time, you can process what she just said, identify any manipulation, and decide on the best response. This small pause allows you to think strategically rather than emotionally. Another important point is that silence forces her to fill the space. When she expects an immediate reaction and doesn't get one, she might start clarifying, repeating, or even correcting herself. This can reveal her tactics, exaggerations, or inconsistencies. Suddenly, the control starts shifting back to you without you saying a word. Silence also helps protect your emotional energy. Constant arguing with a narcissistic woman is exhausting. Every time you speak without thinking, you risk giving her more ammunition to use against you. By taking a pause, you keep your mind clear, your voice calm, and your confidence intact. It's not about being passive or letting her walk over you. It's about choosing when and how to respond. Strategic silence is an active decision. You're not shutting down. You're observing, analyzing, and preparing a response that actually matters. That way, you don't waste energy on her distractions or emotional bait. Over time, using silence changes the dynamic of your conversations. She will notice that you're not reacting like before. Her usual tactics lose effectiveness because she can't predict your response or control the flow. This small but deliberate strategy can completely shift the balance in your favor. The key takeaway is this: don't rush to respond. Use silence as a tool to regain control. Observe manipulation and protect your emotional energy. When used consistently, silence becomes one of the most powerful ways to win arguments without losing your composure. Recognize their games. One of the most important things you can do in an argument with a narcissistic woman is to recognize her manipulation tactics. She often uses strategies designed to confuse, provoke, or control you. If you don't see them for what they are, you can get pulled into endless drama and emotional exhaustion. These games can take many forms. She might guilt trip you, blame you for things that aren't your fault, exaggerate facts, or twist your words. She may also use emotional pressure, like acting hurt or offended, to get you to react. Recognizing these tactics is the first step in stopping them from working. When you start noticing these patterns, it changes how you respond. You stop reacting emotionally because you understand her motives. You realize that these behaviors aren't about truth or fairness. They're about control. That insight gives you power. You start responding strategically instead of being manipulated by her. Recognizing her games also helps you protect your self-confidence. When she tries to make you doubt yourself, knowing that it's a manipulation tactic keeps you grounded. You understand that her words are meant to provoke a reaction, not to reflect reality. This prevents her from eroding your sense of self. Another benefit is that recognizing the games allows you to focus on what actually matters. Instead of getting dragged into side issues or personal attacks, you can steer the conversation back to the main point. You're no longer trapped in the emotional twists and turns she sets up. It's also important to remember that recognizing the games doesn't mean ignoring the conversation. You're still engaged, but you're aware of the rules she's trying to play by. This awareness lets you choose how to respond, when to stay silent, and when to assert your point. Over time, this strategy shifts the power dynamic. She will notice that her usual tactics don't work on you anymore. You stop being an easy target, and she may even reduce attempts to manipulate you because she realizes you're aware. The key takeaway is simple. See the manipulation for what it is. Recognize her tactics, stay grounded, and respond strategically. The more aware you are of her games, the less power she has over you, and the more control you regain in every conversation. Protect and care for yourself. The most important step in dealing with a narcissistic woman is to protect yourself and take care of your own well-being. No strategy, no matter how smart, will help if you're emotionally drained, stressed, or doubting yourself. This is about making sure your mental and emotional health come first. Start by setting clear boundaries. Decide what behavior you will and won't tolerate, and stick to it. If she crosses a line, calmly enforce your boundary. You don't need to explain yourself repeatedly or justify your feelings. Boundaries are for your protection, not for her approval. It's also crucial to have support. Talk to people you trust, whether that's friends, family, or a counselor. Narcissistic women often isolate or confuse their targets, making them doubt their own perspective. Having trusted people to talk to gives you clarity and reassurance. It reminds you that your feelings and experiences are valid. Self-care isn't just about emotional support. It's about protecting your energy. Limit the time you spend in arguments or interactions that drain you. Take breaks, do things that recharge you, and make space for activities that make you feel confident and strong. This isn't selfish, it's survival. The more grounded and energized you are, the less she can manipulate you. Another aspect is learning to trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Narcissistic people often make you second-guess yourself. Pay attention to your feelings. Recognize when you're being manipulated, and act accordingly. Trusting your gut helps you make decisions that protect you and your peace of mind. Protecting yourself also means knowing when to walk away. Some arguments aren't worth engaging in. If a conversation is escalating in a way that threatens your emotional stability, it's okay to step back. Walking away doesn't mean losing. It means choosing your well-being over unnecessary conflict. Finally, care for yourself by acknowledging your progress. Every time you set a boundary, stay calm, or avoid being manipulated, you're winning in your own way. Celebrating these victories, no matter how small, builds confidence and resilience. The key takeaway is simple. Put your emotional health first. Enforce boundaries, seek support, and protect your energy. Doing this consistently will strengthen you, reduce her power over you, and help you maintain control, not just in arguments, but in your life as a whole. Arguing with a narcissistic woman is tough. It's draining, frustrating, and can make you question yourself. But remember this: you are stronger than her words, her games, and the pressure she tries to put on you. You have the ability to stay calm, see through manipulation, and protect your confidence. All the strategies we talked about, from staying calm, understanding her motives, picking your battles, analyzing logic, naming the issue, using silence, recognizing her games, to protecting yourself, aren't just techniques. They're tools that help you take control of the situation, protect your peace of mind, and strengthen your emotional resilience. You have the power to decide which battles matter, when to speak, and when to step back. You can set boundaries that protect you, and you can take care of yourself in ways that make her influence over you smaller and smaller. Each step you take builds your confidence and your sense of control. Remember, winning isn't about defeating her. It's about winning your peace, your clarity, and your strength. Every time you use these strategies, you're not just handling an argument. You're reclaiming your energy, your confidence, and your life. You are capable. You are strong. And every choice you make to protect yourself, stay calm, and respond thoughtfully is a victory. Keep practicing these strategies. With time, they become second nature, and you'll notice a shift in every conversation, giving you power, peace, and freedom. And as always, because YouTube's algorithm tends to favor videos with strong engagement, if you feel this video has brought you value, a simple like and a quick subscribe would mean so much. It not only helps this message reach more people who need it, but also ensures you will never miss the next video that could make a difference in your journey. Thanks all.